They thought humans would send diplomats, maybe a few medics, at worst a handful of military advisors. The Zorvalis were a peaceful species, brilliant engineers, unmatched in energy tech, but utterly unprepared for war. When the insectoid Karnax Empire invaded their star systems, torching entire colonies and enslaving millions, the Zorvalis reached out across the stars with trembling voices. And humanity listened. What arrived wasn't a delegation. It was an armada. Orbital dreadnoughts, stealth frigates, exosuit legions, more force than the Zorvalis even knew existed. The humans didn't come to help. They came to end the war. And in doing so, they left the galaxy with a question it still hasn't answered. Was it a mistake to ask humanity for help? The message in the void. The Zorvalis coalition never believed war would touch them. A star-faring alliance of 6 intelligent species, they thrived in the tranquil spiral arm of the galaxy, masters of clean energy, harmony, and trade. Their fleets were scientific vessels, not warships. Violence was an ancient relic of their past, purged by consensus and education. They didn't even have a word for invasion in their core language. But the Karnax did. The Karnax Empire wasn't interested in diplomacy. They were a hive-structured species of armored arthropods from the harsh volcanic world of Thrask. Where the Zorvalis valued symbiosis, the Karnax believed in dominance. Expansion was not a choice, it was doctrine. When their sensors picked up the lush, water-rich worlds of the Zorvalis, they mobilized. It started small, an unexplained colony blackout, a sensor relay severed. Then came the refugee ships, crippled, smoking, their inhabitants burned by plasma and traumatized beyond words. The coalition panicked. They had no armies, no real weapons. Their defense systems were built to deflect asteroids, not intercept particle beams. Their solution was desperation. A long-range, open-frequency transmission shot toward every known sapient civilization, translated into every language and format their quantum arrays could reach. To any species capable of hearing this message, we request assistance. We are the Zorvalis Coalition. We are under attack. We offer peaceful cooperation, trade, and alliance in exchange for protection. Earth's Council debates. On Earth, the Abetua signal caused a storm. It reached the United Terran Assembly during a late session of the Interstellar Response Committee. Earth had only recently entered the galactic stage. Our early years of exploration were cautious. Observation drones, peaceful trade envoys. We were still, by galactic standards, the new kids on the block. But humans had one thing few others in. The galaxy possessed a history of war so vast, so destructive, that it had been encoded in our genes, our books, and our art. We're being asked to help, said Ambassador Renibara, tapping the holo display. But what they don't realize is that our help doesn't come quietly. Earth's response was debated furiously. Some called for restraint. Others, recalling the horrors of their own nation's histories, wars in the Middle East, nuclear standoffs, chemical warfare, argued that we had a moral obligation. We knew what unchecked aggression led to. We'd lived it. But more importantly, humans saw something else. This wasn't just about saving the Zorvalis. It was about making a statement. When humanity arrived. The Karnax forces were approaching the Zorvalis' core worlds when they detected the new fleet. It didn't make sense. To them, the newcomers weren't cloaked. They weren't subtle. They announced themselves. First came deep space comms filled with Earth music, Beethoven, then Tupac, then a Japanese heavy metal cover of Ave Maria. Then the human ships exited FTL. They weren't beautiful, not like the elegant crystal-driven vessels of the Zorvalis. Human ships were brutal, slabs of armor, radiation shielding, point defense turrets like thorns along their hulls. No aesthetics, only purpose. At first, the Karnax tried to engage with their forward fleets. They sent hundreds of fighters. The humans didn't flinch. They deployed drones first, swarms of AI-operated interceptors armed with magnetic railguns and swarm intelligence. The fighters vanished in flashes of light and twisted metal. Then came the human strike teams. The ground, The Karniks didn't understand infantry warfare like humans did. They never needed to. Their military strategy revolved around overwhelming numbers, biomass attrition, and planetary suppression via orbital bombardment. But humans? Humans had perfected the art of small unit destruction. On the jungle moon of Isel, a human spec ops unit known as Echo Shade dropped into a Karniks-occupied research facility. 5 soldiers. 5. Equipped with adaptive camouflage, bone-conductive comms, and kinetic weapons designed to bypass chitin armor. In 22 minutes, the entire Karniks outpost was neutralized. Not just defeated, annihilated. And they left. A message, scorched into the walls in multiple languages. We're just getting started. 5. The overkill begins. The Zorvalis were horrified. They had wanted protection, safe zones, a few orbital intercepts, maybe a couple of human trainers to help establish basic defense. What humanity gave them was war doctrine, mass driver artillery. Platforms were installed in orbit, planet-based defense grids upgraded with human AI that ran simulations 8 million times per second. Zorvalis ships were retrofitted with human tactical processors, completely rewriting their peaceful architecture into war-ready frigates. Worse yet, Earth had brought not just soldiers, but contractors, private companies, Hyperion Arms, Stalworks, Industrial, Deep Spear Logistics, corporations whose job was to wage war for profit. And they were thriving. The Zorvalis began to notice patterns. Where the humans fought, the worlds became uninhabitable, forests leveled, oceans irradiated, cities turned to glass. It was as if humanity fought not to reclaim territory, but to punish anyone who dared attack those under their protection. The turning point. On the gas giant moon of Veltor, Awo, Zorvalis mining colony, the Karniks launched a desperate final offensive. They sent everything: 12 hive ships, 40,000 troops, plasma mines, biochemical cloud weapons. Their plan: overwhelm, destroy, leave nothing. But humanity had predicted it. They wanted the Karniks to commit everything. When the hive ships entered orbit, they were met not by planetary defenses, but by the juggernauts. These were Earth's most terrifying war machines, atmospheric entry mechs the size of buildings, designed for total area denial, each one equipped with particle cannons, point defense lasers, and enough armor to withstand a nuke. The juggernauts dropped through the clouds like steel meteors. The battle lasted 7 hours. When it ended, the moon wasn't a battlefield anymore, it was a graveyard. The consequences. The Karniks' empire collapsed within 3 standard months. Not because humanity conquered them, because the sheer brutality of human retaliation broke their morale. Their queens surrendered not out of strategy, but fear. The Zorvalis were saved. Their worlds, protected. Their people, safe, but they couldn't sleep. The Coalition Council held secret sessions debating how to ask the humans to leave, without offending them. They feared saying the wrong thing. They feared another overreaction. They had invited the humans to help, and the humans had helped so well that now no one knew how to turn them off. Earth's statement, back on Earth, news network celebrated, victory in the spiral arm. Earth liberates peaceful coalition. Humanity, galactic peacekeepers or punishers? But in private, Earth's leadership was divided. Some warned they'd gone too far, that they'd become the very thing they once hated. Others argued they had proven themselves indispensable, and that power was finally in human hands. Ambassador Rene Barra gave a final speech at the Coalition Reconstruction Summit. We are not saviors. We are not conquerors. We are what you asked for, help. But help, for humans, doesn't mean comfort. It means resolution. When you call us, you get all of us, too. The Coalition's new fear. The war was over. The Zorvalis' homeworld of Alivan was safe again. Its floating crystal cities humming back to life. Starships rebuilt. Skies clear. Children laughing. But underneath that serenity, the Coalition trembled. The humans hadn't left. Not entirely. Earth's military had pulled back most of its main forces. Yes. The juggernauts returned to orbit. The fleet ceased bombardment drills. But dozens of human advisors remained. Elite units were on call. Earth-controlled orbital defense systems still blanketed Zorvalis space. To the average citizen, humans were heroes. To the politicians, behind closed doors, they were occupiers in disguise. Zorvalis President Milan Vor asked the question that everyone else feared to say aloud. Have we replaced one conqueror with another? Earth's quiet strategy. Back on Earth, the United Terran Assembly wasn't blind to the concern. They anticipated it, planned for it. Earth's strategy was never just brute force. It was long-term influence. Human engineers helped the coalition rebuild, but only using Terran-designed infrastructure. Communication systems, human encryption, power plants, fission-fusion hybrids, with Terran cores, trade lanes, redrawn by Earth's Stellar Commerce Authority. It wasn't colonialism in the old Earth-based sense. It was infrastructural dependency, a soft leash. Not chains, but cords of data, fuel, logistics, and economics, and they'd tied themselves so deeply into the coalition's systems that removing Earth would be like cutting the nervous system from a body. Dan. The Karnak's warning. The surviving. Karnak's queen, Vrahesh, gave her last broadcast from a secured war tribunal. Half her carapace was burned, her breathing shallow, but her voice was clear, translated.